soldier of fortune. Gotta walk through a fire for what's important. The warrior's blood through your veins is coursing. Kill for hire, soldier of fortune. The whole world's watching every move. Take your shot, don't act a fool. All you got and all you ever need is one bullet in the chamber. It needs to take your game, but ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? Do or die, you're a mercenary. One of a kind that you're burdened to carry. Go and make them proud, do what's necessary. Oh no, do or die, you're a mercenary. Now the whole world's watching every move. Take your shot, don't act the fool. All you gotta to take your game, boy. Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? One bullet in the chamber. Breathe needs to take your game, boy. Ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? Now the whole world's watching every move. Still your heart so much to prove.
If it's Thursday, it's time for Mystic Racing League. Welcome, everyone. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith in the Slingshot Racing Media booth. Tonight, we're bringing you race number 11 of the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series, coming to you from one of stock car racing's most iconic battlegrounds. We're live from Rockingham Speedway, where worn-out pavement, high tire wear, and that Carolina grip promises a throwback slugfest here at Rockingham. Nestled in the heart of North Carolina's Sandhills, Rockingham Speedway, originally known as North Carolina Motor Speedway, was born out of a bold dream and built with sheer determination. It was in 1963, and a group of local businessmen led by Harold Brazington, the same visionary who built Darlington, wanted to create a top-tier racing facility in Richmond County. They chose a patch of pine-covered land just outside the small town of Rockingham, where red clay roads and mill towns spoke to a hard-working community hungry for racing. Construction wasn't easy. The site was remote, and the local infrastructure just wasn't built for major events. Crews worked through heat, mud, and unpredictable Carolina weather. Materials had to be trucked in from miles away, and the terrain had to be blasted and graded by hand and machine. At one point, a rainstorm nearly washed out weeks of work, turning the construction site into a literal swamp. But the team pushed forward, driven by passion and pride. Locals pitched in, truck drivers, machinists, and farmers alike, many working double shifts just to make the dream a reality. And after nearly 2 years of effort, the track opened back up in October 31st of 1965 with a 500-mile Grand National race that drew more than 35,000 fans to the countryside. It was a Halloween debut that felt more like a resurrection at that point. And it also resurrected Curtis Turner's career. After a 4-year ban from NASCAR, Turner returned that day and stole the show. From there, Rockingham became proving ground. Its high banks and abrasive pavement punished poor setups and rewarded smooth hands. Legends like Petty, Pearson, Allison, Wallace, and Martin all left their marks here. Though NASCAR left in 2004, for the highest series, the Cup Series left in 2004, the track never lost its soul. ARCA and Truck Series, as well as grassroots racers, have kept it alive. And finally, after a 12-year hiatus, NASCAR's truck and Xfinity cars return this season in the real world. Chris, here's a fun one. They say Rockingham was built with blood, sweat, and southern stubbornness. And tonight, it'll take that same determined spirit to survive these 150 laps on this tire-killing track. What are drivers going to have to do if they're going to wrestle the track and make it up front at the end?
Well, they're going to have to tackle a very, very difficult racetrack tonight. Rockingham is not really a short track, but it's not really a mile-and-a-half intermediate track. It's kind of like an animal in and of itself right here. Tire wear is going to be key all night tonight. 150 laps with a 25-car field. It's going to be action-packed all night. We're not really sure about that fuel window yet. We'll try to get some more up-to-date information about that here momentarily, but it should be very, very exciting action all night tonight.
Lots of excitement, lots of stories to cover here from Rockingham in race number 11. We're going to cover that when we get back. However, it's time for everyone's favorite pre-race tradition here at Slingshot Racing Media, the playing of the national anthem. Everyone, rise and remove your caps if able. We'll be back on the other end of the anthem. All right, back here live at Rockingham Speedway, getting ready for race number 11 of the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series here for Mystic Racing League. Just a few minutes left in qualifying, which means we've got to set up the race for the folks watching at home. If you're tuning in on YouTube, so glad you are here. Let us know who you're rooting for in the chat. Chris, let's talk about points to begin with. Last week, crazy race. We saw a first-time winner in Max Molina bringing home the victory with some strategy calls at Texas. What that did is it left us with a dead heat in the point standings. Adam Holston, Evan Janik, they're tied up 11 races into the season. Christian Barnes, the third closest driver, is back 70 points. What do you got to do to get yourself into playoff contention for the rest of the season?
Well, that's probably the easiest thing is to win. That's probably the easiest way to get yourself in the playoff hunt right here. And there's a lot of drivers that we have, I think, that are capable of doing that have not notched that victory yet. Alex Pollock right here has yet to win a race. Caleb Hunt, Christian Barnes, you mentioned. Those guys are, they're very consistent week in and week out. And, this week might be one of their weeks right here. We've also got Derek Jewett, who's shown a lot of speed also in the bottom half of the top 10. So there's a lot of drivers that could definitely set their destiny here tonight at the Rock.
And this is a win and you're in sort of situation to get yourself into the playoffs. So some spots still left open, but we are approaching the max winners with all the first-time winners we've had this season. Tonight, could it be a whole new winner? And that's one of our stories to follow, Chris. We've had several new winners in the past several weeks. We saw Daniel Dow start off really strong. We saw Evan Janik have a couple of races where he did really well. We saw Bobby Rafferty, who's no longer with us in this series. But the past several weeks, we've seen brand new drivers getting those wins and really taking up some of those playoff spots. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Now let's talk about what we're keeping an eye on tonight on the track. Tire management is king. It was big at Texas. We saw it play a role in the overall outcome. But tonight, Chris, they don't come much tougher than this track when it comes to tire wear. What are drivers going to have to do to keep some rubber on those good years?
Well, I think that, this race tonight is going to be extremely line sensitive. You see our second story right there, bottom feeders. I think it's a little, I think those who do run around the bottom, especially in turns 3 and 4, I think they're going to be in a little bit better advantage. But it's also about how you are able to, utilize the car's momentum off of turn 2. Turn 2, it's super, super sharp on the exit. Feels like the track really narrows up right there. And I feel like that's where most of the tire wear is seen here, is on the turns 1 and 2 end of the speedway. Much sharper radius on that end than the sweeping turns 3 and 4. So the lines that we see these drivers use through 1 and 2, I think, are going to be pretty diverse. And I think that the drivers who are managing their tires the best are probably going to be doing it on that end of the racetrack.
Lot of work, and part of that, Chris, staying ahead on adjustments. Drivers have the ability to dial in the brake bias a little bit to help their car handle, and as these tires wear out, that is going to become a very important skill these drivers have to employ. So it's not just keeping your hands on the steering wheel all race. You're going to have other things to worry about, not to mention if any clouds come out, track conditions can change rapidly here at Rockingham, and drivers will notice it. So we're going to be keeping an eye on all of those stories tonight. We're going to be doing a trivia giveaway later on. We'll do 4 trivia questions, Chris. Anyone at home can play on the YouTube. Just when our questions come up, make sure you put your answers into the chat. Appreciate you tuning in. Let us know who you're rooting for. With that, qualifying is just getting ready to wrap up. And we're going to take a look at the official starting grid to see where drivers are going to line up tonight. And it looks like Jacob Cochran and that 84 Talladega winner, Jacob Cochran, is going to start on the pole. He was fast in practice. Derek Jewett also, Chris, was very fast in practice. He's going to be starting on the outside of row number 1. And that number 45, we've yet to see him put together a complete race. We're going to have to see if that night might come tonight for that number 45. He's fast. And then Janik tied for the points lead. In that number 71, we're going to be looking at a different paint scheme for the 71 tonight. A little blue and white action, but he's going to be starting on the inside of row 2 in 3rd position. Last week's winner, he's back. He's fast. Max Molina starting 4th in that 26. Brad Nelson in the 33. Good qualifying effort for Brad in 5th position. Joshua Gillen, I know he's in the chat. Great qualifying effort, Chris, out of that number 10 car starting 6th tonight. I'll let you carry us through the rest of this grid, Chris.
Yeah, Gavin Henson going to be rolling off in the 7th spot on the inside of row number 4. Christian Barnes on the outside, still looking for his first win of the season. David Moyer right here in the 47 going to roll off from the 9th spot. Good qualifying run for Moyer. Malcolm Capo right here in that Red Bull machine going to roll off from the 10th spot. Joshua Thornton going to be starting 11th tonight. Zach White also looking for his first win of the season. We've seen him all year long. He's going to be rolling off from the 12th spot. Caleb Hunt, another driver. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry,
Ellis.
Chris. I was going to give you a break there. 13th is going to be Caleb Hunt. We've seen him be fast the past several weeks. Could he slip his way into the top 5 and play a role in the outcome of tonight's race? We'll have to wait and see. Brandon Willard, 14th on the starting grid. Brett Rinn's going to be starting 15th. Or Brett might have been on a little bit of pain medicine tonight, so we're going to watch out for that number 50, that 24 on the track. Alan Zukov starting 16th alongside Brett in row number 8. Gino Volante, good finish last week, starting 17th. Adam Holston tied for the points lead. Going to have to come all the way back from 18th position if he's going to get it done tonight. Joey Beam starting 19th in the 41. Reggie Kime starting 20th. Andrew Allen, 21st. Alex Pollock, we're going to be watching his heart rate throughout the evening. He's starting 22nd. Isaac Brock, 23rd. Douglas Wasaki starting 24th. And then Stephen Gill starting tail end of the field in that 25th position, Chris. It's going to be an interesting one tonight. Drivers working their way around the track right now. Seeing maybe if we can get a word with one of these drivers, see what it's going to take to get this thing done tonight. Let's see if we can pull in Caleb Hunt to the chat here. Let's see. Caleb Hunt, Ellis Thomas, and Chris in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
I do got a copy.
Hey, man, starting a little bit further back tonight, I think, than you would like in 13th position. What's the name of the game early here at Rockingham?
Just to save tires, because tires will come into play later on. Try to avoid all the wrecks. Hopefully we make it out on top at the end of this thing and go in victory lane.
All right, does that car feel pretty fast tonight?
Fast is a understatement, I guess. It handles pretty well, but fast, I don't know. But like they always say, the fastest doesn't always win, you know?
Yep, watch those tires on that long run, buddy. Good luck, Caleb Hunt.
Yep, thank you.
All right, sorry about that. Technical difficulties here. Getting ready to go green flag racing. You heard from Caleb Hunt there. What it's going to take to get it done. Not going to be an easy task tonight, but Jacob Cochran's going to be the car leading these folks down towards turn 1. Pace car going to be getting ready to make that hard left turn to the front straightaway. Cochran sees the green flag for the first time tonight. One car loose. Jewett loose. There goes to 71. Also loose down there. Does he go inside? He doesn't. 2 cars side by side up front. Early action in the first lap here for Mystic Racing League. 3 wide battle for the lead. Jewett high. Janik low. The 84 of Cochran's going to have to give it up. Loses 2 spots in 1 corner. Jewett hanging tight in that number 45 with Evan Janik on his inside. Down they go. The first lap is complete. Headed down into turn 1.
Yeah, a lot of tire spin right there on the initial start. This is one of the more difficult tracks to not do that, so that's going to be a story all night with these stages and these restarts tonight, Ellis.
Yeah, I think you make a good point. One
Zach
car
White.
Sideways. That is the 77, I believe.
Yep, that's
the
Zach
77.
White. Yep.
Zach White puts us under caution for the first time tonight, and I think, Chris, you mentioned it. That's going to be a story to follow off the corner. These cars are going to be loose, and that 77 came up on the short end of that one here off of turn 2 here on lap number 2. Put us under caution for the first time tonight.
Yeah, let's go back right here and see what we can see happen. Oh, we missed it just a little bit with Zach. He's already around backwards right there. Yeah, turn 2, I think, is going to be the trouble spot all night. We saw some cars kind of slide up into each other on the first lap of the race coming off of turn 2. Cars get really, really pushy, and then all of a sudden they get this push-loose effect here, Ellis, and I think that's what happened to Zach White here, and he goes for right into that inside retaining wall. A lot of front-end damage to that Ford Mustang.
Chris, Zach White probably going to not come up with the finish he wanted to tonight. Texas wasn't great to him either. Finished 33rd there, but Talladega he finished 2nd. So this driver can get it done, but struggling early on in the evening with loose conditions. Probably not going to be the first time we see that. No drivers, I can believe, are going to come down pit road this time by. Hey, if you're watching in the chat, we got a lot of people tuning in right now. Josh Gillen, Brandon Berardi, The No, Alex Pollock, Dan E., all up in here cheering on these Mystic Racing League drivers. No one's going to come down pit road this time. If you're in the chat, let us know who you're rooting for. We're going to have some trivia coming up on later on in the evening with one lucky winner winning a Brandon Jones diecast later on. And Jones, he went Darlington last week in the Xfinity Series, Chris, right?
He did. Yeah, that was a pretty big victory for him. And yeah, that's his kind of return to Joe Gibbs Racing. So yeah, it's fitting that we got the diecast tonight.
Speaking of returns to victory lane, potentially, it's been a while since Evan Janik picked up a win, Chris. If you're Evan Janik, are you getting nervous with that momentum that you had at the beginning of the season, not really seeing it in recent weeks? He finished 8th last week, 22nd at Talladega. Hasn't been in the top 2 since Bristol a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't think I'm concerned. There's been a lot of circumstances that have kind of, prevented him from finding his way back to victory lane. I think he still has a speed week in and week out, so not too concerned at all. Just, circumstances have to work out in his favor. One thing we noticed right here, Ellis, is that he was 2nd and decided to follow the leader, Derek Jewett, to the top lane right here and then start on the outside.
Yeah, I think he watched what that 45 did on that initial start of the race, and he saw the momentum that 45 was able to carry all the way to the lead. So I think probably learned a little bit, and drivers going to have to watch each other all night long. I think there are going to be a lot of lessons to be learned, especially in this first run when it comes to tire wear. So drivers rolling through turns 3 and 4 right now, seeing if they can't get these tires with a little bit of heat in them after an early caution. Jacob Cochran on the inside, but it's Derek Jewett, your leader, who waits for the restart zone. He finds it. We're green flag racing once again here at Rockingham for the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series. You see Jewett up top. One car goes even higher. That's Evan Janik in that 71 doing battle with Jacob Cochran not too far behind him. Talladega's winner from just a couple of weeks ago. Another crash down the backstretch. That was the 33 and the 47. We're still green flag racing. There's the yellow flag. That was the 33 and the 47. I believe that was Brad Nelson and David Moyer. That was, again, Chris, coming off of turn 2 for 2 consecutive starts.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to go back right here and see what we see. Yeah, we know that we are having some connection issues right here. Got some pretty significant storms in the area, so we apologize for that. Hopefully that will clear up here as we go back to the replay right here. That was like David Moyer here on the outside. We're going to sort of slow this down a little bit and maybe see if we can see this from a little bit different angle right here. Moyer, I think, is going to tag this outside retaining wall. It gets really tight right here on the exit 2. He's out of the gas right here and gets down into the right rear of Brad Nelson, hooks Nelson to the outside retaining wall. Both those drivers spin to the inside. Just a 2-car incident right here. The 29 of Joshua Thornton does a heck of a job right here to avoid these crashing cars.
So a plague this series, at least for the past couple of races, where it's really been tough to get a green flag run going early on. Once these drivers kind of get settled in, all kind of works itself out. But right now, that caution between the 33 and 47, Nelson and Moyer, going to slow us down just a little bit longer before we get a green flag run going here. With that being said, wondering if it might be a good time to step away for a quick broadcast while these drivers get lined up and get ready for the choose rule. We'll be back on the other end of this break and hear from Whiplash Simcams in Flag Racing. All right, back here in Rockingham, getting ready for the restart. Sorry for the connections issues if you're watching at home. We've got some weather in the area. Not virtually, though. Sunshine and skies are blue here in Rockingham, North Carolina. Under caution for the second time, getting ready for the restart down the back straightaway. It's going to be Derek Jewett, your leader. Jacob Cochran in that black and blue car on the inside. Evan Jan, 13th. He wasn't sure, but boy, he's proven himself wrong here.
Yeah, he is. He's working to the inside right here of Malcolm Capo. That car's looking really good right here. Nice and steady on that inside lane. Ooh, he and Capo get really close together right there in turns 1 and 2.
Capo and Hunt really loose. A battle for 5th position right now, going down into turn number 3. Capo in the number 7. The 78 is Caleb Hunt working on that 5th position. One car losing another spot back there, I believe. That was the number 29 of Joshua. Actually, that was, the 29 of Joshua Thornton. Still a battle for 5th position going on here. But Max Molina has picked up the pace on Evan Janik in this battle for 2nd position. Going down into turn number 3. Molina's got the inside line. Janik's running up top. And Chris, while we're watching this, let's talk about what are you doing to those tires when you're running up higher on the track? What's the danger? What's the risk versus reward there?
Well, it's really, really bumpy here at Rockingham, and so you run the risk of, if you are up there on the top, you don't have much margin for error before running into that outside wall. So also, you're going the longer distance, so the longer distance roads require a little bit more throttle, and sometimes more throttle equals a little bit more tire wear also.
A little bit more tire wear. We're going to monitor what's going on with that 71 here as he rides that high line for a little while throughout the race, at least up a groove in turns 1 and 2. Chris, we talked about the importance of wrapping the bottom of the track if you're going to save tires. We think a fuel run somewhere around 60 to 65 laps here. Probably going to see some cars falling off in terms of speed here in the next 15 to 20 laps. We mentioned Rockingham eats up those tires. Chris, battle for the 8th position. Brandon Willard working on Joshua Thornton. I should say that's Adam Holston. Brandon Willard going by the outside of Adam Holston. Points leader Adam Holston in that 8. But Holston is going to get that position right there down the backstretch.
Yeah, Holston right here had a difficult qualifying run, but he has recovered nicely. Is up here in the 7th spot. Looking pretty good right here. He's a little bit higher up off the bottom right there. That's where he might feel comfortable instead of going through those really rough bumps down there on the bottom. Through 1 and 2 right here. Watch Holston. He's going to kind of run high and watch him dive towards the bottom right here. I think that's the very, very operative line right there through turns 1 and 2, Ellis.
That is the operative line through turns 1 and 2. You see drivers taking multiple approaches here. Holston still continuing to roll the outside as he rides his way by Caleb Hunt in that 78, who looked like he was shot out of a cannon in the first several laps of this race once we got going green. But right now, falling back a little bit in that number 78 purple Twitch machine. They've got a couple cars behind them. Joshua Thornton, Alex Pollock joining the fray as well. Got some fast cars in this field, Chris. Joshua Thornton started 11th. He's up to the 8th position in that Bass Pro number 25, seeing if he can't work his way by Caleb Hunt, but also maybe even points leader Adam Holston as they make their way down into turn 1 on lap number 20 of 150 here from Rockingham. Oh boy, Thornton almost. There's Hunt into the wall. It's going to open the door for Thornton. Hunt careens across the track, closes the door on Thornton. That's going to allow Alex Pollock to slip into that position. Also back there with number 12 of Brandon Willard. It's 4 cars. You could throw a blanket over him right now.
Yeah, Pollock, he's also made a nice move right here up into the top 10 from his starting position. So driver of the 92 also looking real good right here on the racetrack. And his Hunt tags the wall again. Oh, he's in trouble.
Hunt might get away with it. Brett Wren slides in the back of him, and we did throw a caution there here on the racetrack. Interesting. I don't think we actually saw a crash, but
I think they probably thought he was going to crash.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think he thought we were going to have a crash, but we managed to hang on to it. Caleb Hunt did a heck of a job, and boy, I want a rear view shot off the back bumper of that number 92 of Alex Pollock.
Yeah, that was really close right there, and I think there might have even been a little bit of contact. Brett Wren, unfortunately, could not avoid Caleb Hunt right here. So, yeah, let's go back right here, and let's find Alex Pollock, and here is the driver of the 92 right here. We're going to ride on board with him, and you're going to see that 78 just appear. Oh, man, yeah, that was really close right there, and you can see the contact between the 24 and the 78.
It's going to put us under caution for the 3rd time tonight. Here on lap 23, I don't know, Chris, if we're really far enough into this run to see drivers make their way down pit road. This could be an opportunity to maybe see a few drivers roll the dice potentially and come and get fresh tires, putting themselves further back in the field, but having the benefit of some fresher tires at this point in the race. Going to see if anyone does roll the dice. Jacob Cochran scored as your leader currently. Evan Janik 2nd. Max Molina had fallen back to 3rd, with Gavin Henson holding station in 4th. Malcolm Capo in that 7. Shout out to him. Worked his way up to the 5th position so far. And just looking through the stats for Malcolm the past several weeks, Texas finished 18th, Talladega 31st, Bristol 13th. So right now, 7 showing some speed that he has not shown earlier in the since earlier in the season. Chris, doing a good job. This has got to be feeling good if you're that number 7, Malcolm Capo, in that red, white, and blue scheme right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's got some good speed here tonight. You see they are making the choose right here on the front stretch, and he decides to go to the bottom lane right here. Drivers got their different strategies, their different mentalities, but he obviously feels like the bottom lane is what he needs to go with here.
The bottom lane, it is going to be Jacob Cochran is going to be the leader here. Max Molina is going to be 2nd. Gavin Henson is going to be on the inside in that orange and red car. Meanwhile, Evan Janik tied for the points. Lead is up to the 4th position. And Chris, Adam Holston clawing his way back into the picture. Holston started in the 18th position, but he's worked his way up to 5th, Chris. That ain't showing some speed right now.
Yeah, he is. He's looking really, really good right here in that 5th spot. Adam Holston right here. Just quiet, steady march up through the field. And Ellis, all these cautions have kind of meant that these drivers really don't have to save their tires all that much because they know they're getting a caution at lap 40 for the stage 1 break.
They are getting a caution in about 15 laps from now. Make that 16. Green flag is out. The number 84 spins his tires. Holston does as well. Several drivers caught off guard, but everyone appropriately lifts out of the throttle to take care of the other drivers around them. We're clean and green so far down the back stretch. It's a battle between Molina, Janik, and the leader, Cochran. It's Molina and Janik. Side by side is the red, white, and blue 71 points leader Janik to the outside, working his way by Molina. He's got a big charge ahead of steam. Does he take it high, or will Cochran close the door? Closes the door indeed down into turn 1. Every driver at least halfway up the track, diamonding their way back down. Hinson, that lead car, the tail end of that 4-car pack.
Yeah, I think Malcolm Capo had some trouble right there off of turn 2. Looks like he's recovered. Slides up in front of Brandon Willard. We're still green here at Rockingham, and oh, that's really close right there with Stephen Gill. Gill's going to hang on to it, though, Ellis.
Yeah, that 01 having a great run in 12th after starting 22nd. Got a little bit loose on the apron there out of turn 3, but manages to hold on to it with some steady hands. Capo continues to be under fire from the number 12. Right there, down into turn number 3 they go. Brandon Willard continuing to work the left side of that number 7 of Capo. Brett Wren not too far behind the 24 with his teammate Alex Pollock and Derek Jewett, who's clawed his way back up to the 12th position after an early black flag, almost contact between the 12 and the 7 of Capo and Willard. Willard's going to find his way by. There goes Capo in third position, second in that line with Brandon Willard. The 24 of Brett Wren working that inside, trying to hold off Derek Jewett as they work their way down the front straightaway.
And we saw Brandon Willard in that 12 machine. He actually got the apron a little bit right there. Oh, we got trouble up ahead. That's the 29 of Thornton. He saved it, though, Ellis.
Sideways. I saw a lot of tire smoke. We're still clean and green. I think that's going to be worth taking a look at, pending we don't have another incident halt this race. I thought it was about to happen there, but boy, that 24 or 29 did a hell of a job. Thornton, that must have been completely sideways.
Yeah, contact right there with Christian Barnes. Great job by him to not overreact and keep that thing straight.
He keeps it straight indeed. 3-car battle. I just saw the 26 and Max Molina up front and second. Oh, big crash. The 26 collected by the 39. We're still green flag racing. Gavin Hinson got into the back of a loose Max Molina. It's going to open the door for the 8 of Adam Holston, who's also into the wall, Chris. Lots of action transpiring down the front straightaway into turns 1, all the way through 2 down the backstretch. That was a lot of events happening simultaneously, but the long and short of it is, I believe Evan Janik came out on the better end. Hinson did too, but Max Molina is going to lose 2 or 3 spots in that exchange.
Yeah, we had great saves all over the racetrack tonight, Ellis. These drivers, they're up on the wheel. They're bringing it. We're coming up here in the final closing laps of this first stage. The top 5 drivers, they're hungry for those stage points.
9 laps to go before we hit the end of stage number 1. We're going to get a caution before that. Going to see if we can't find out what happened here on the speedway.
I think that was, it might have been Reggie Kime and Derek Jewett.
Yeah, I see the 45 sideways down there on the apron. Oh, big crash, Chris. Big crash. 1 car rolled over. I believe that was the 45 of Jewett.
Yeah, it was Derek Jewett. Alex Pollock hard in the inside wall. Yeah, I mentioned Reggie Kime, but I think Reggie actually just took evasive action right there to avoid all the action that he saw in front of him. Yeah, we're going to have to ride on board with Derek Jewett right here. Show you what he saw. He went for this ride. Ellis, turnovers here on the backstretch at Rockingham. I think Carl Long had one of these once upon a time, didn't he?
It is a rare occurrence, but I believe you are correct. That was probably in, 2002, 2003 maybe, that Carl Long went end over end, or side over side, I guess, here down the backstretch. It doesn't happen often, but Derek Jewett making it, I would say making it look pretty, but he manages to get away with it right there. I don't think they have a quick repair, Chris. There could have been a lot more damage to that 45, though. Not as in bad a shape as you would think it would be.
Yeah, not at all. So, yeah, we'll have to see what kind of, if there's any type of terminal damage on that Ford Mustang. But yeah, heck of a ride for Derek Jewett tonight. He's one of those drivers that we've been kind of anticipating maybe possibly finding victory lane at some point this season. Unfortunately, his chances of that tonight have taken a big hit.
I think you are right. They are. We talked about complete races for Derek Jewett in that 45 after a second position start tonight. Not the complete race that I know he was hoping for, even though he showed speed in the early going after starting second. Pace car working its way by the front stretch right now across the start-finish line. Jacob Cochran still scored as your leader. And, Chris, I think this is going to set us up for maybe a 4-lap shootout. They're taking the choose rule right now, so it's actually going to be a 5-lap shootout here to end stage number 1. Reminder to fans watching at home, there are championship points on the line here for the top 5 finishers in each stage. Stage 1 ending at lap 40. Top 5 across the line will receive championship points accordingly. Going to be Adam Holston and Jacob Cochran fighting for those points, along with Evan Janicki, Gavin Henson, and Max Molina as well. I believe that's Christian Barnes in the 27, Chris. 3rd place in the points, a distant 3rd, but having a good showing tonight in that number 27. He's been the picture of consistency over the past 5 race stretch or so, doing a pretty good job in that number 27 right now.
Yeah, he is. He's got that thing up there in the top 5. Nice steady march up through the field right here. And this would be a good race for Christian Barnes to maybe right the ship from the last tough couple of weeks that he's had here recently.
Yeah, Talladega 34th position finish. I think he's going to want better than that tonight. 5 laps left in stage number 1. Cochran takes the green flag. Holston to his inside. Drivers getting off a little bit better this time than they did last time. Tires holding up a little bit better. Drivers maybe being a little bit more careful with those throttles and acceleration off the line. It's going to be Cochran getting away cleanly. Adam Holston slides into 2nd. Evan Janik 3rd. Gavin Henson 4th. Max Molina fighting to his outside, making that outside line work with some speed off the corner, trying to get that 4th position. Last week's winner at Texas, Molina trying to establish himself as maybe a championship contender here at Rockingham. Janik slow, bottlenecks the field just a little bit as they head down the backstretch with 4 laps, I should say, to go.
Yeah, Janik actually made the pass right there on Holston. He's going to grab that 2nd spot and the stage points to go with that 2nd spot. Holston under pressure from Molina, who's going to grab the 3rd spot.
Molina slides into 3rd position. Holston back to 4th. It's a battle between Barnes and Henson behind them. The fastest car on the track right now might be Christian Barnes in that 27, wrapping the high line. Nothing to lose if you're coming to get tires here on this stage 1 pit stop. Now he shifts to the inside to try to gain that coveted 4th position and get those playoff or championship points, I should say. Caution on the racetrack. That is going to be
Joey Beam. Yeah,
Joey Beam.
I think this is another situation where a driver got sideways and the caution was thrown, and he saved it. So we're going to go back and see what happened right here for Joey Beam right here in that 41. I think he made a heck of a save. I kind of caught it out the corner of my eye. Yeah, so we'll go back just a little bit here. Yeah, it looks like these 2 in front of him, that's Stephen Gill in the 01 and Malcolm Capo in the 7, are side by side for position right here. Beam runs up on the back of him, gets into the back of the 01, pitches that car sideways, drifts through 3 and 4, gets down on the apron, and he straightens it out.
And hey, heads up, shout out to Race Control for being the eagle eye in the sky, seeing those incidents, and rather than potentially allowing other drivers to get involved with incidents not of their own making, throwing that yellow flag and give them credit for better job than I know I could do, making sense of everything that's going on around this track right now. And Chris, I do believe this is going to end the stage now in lap 40. That means that your 5-point earners from stage number 1 are going to be Cochran, Janik, Molina, Barnes, and Holston's going to get that last championship point with that 5th position finish. Going to be getting set up for green flag pit stops. And Chris, this is not an easy track to pass at. We're going to see drivers come down pit road. Speak to the importance of every little 10th of a second on pit road.
Well, yeah, it is extremely important, and yeah, you definitely want to maintain the track position because it's been a little bit chaotic tonight, Ellis. I think this is now 4 cautions and 40 laps, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, you want to maintain the track position to keep yourself up at the front of the field if at all possible. Try to stay out of that chaos right there. We're coming to the completion right here of lap 40, so this is where the stage points will be rewarded to the drivers here in the top 5 at the completion of this lap. I was checking to see if pit road was open that time, Ellis. I don't believe it. I don't believe it was, or if it was, it might have been a race control mandate to stay out on the track. But yeah, Jacob Cochran going to take that stage 1 win.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm seeing that they've extended the caution by another lap, so I think you are right. They were making sure, good heads-up call on race control's part, making sure they stayed out. And Chris, right now, as we get ready to watch these cars roll down pit road, I think it might be a good opportunity once we get done watching these pit stops to pull up trivia question number 1. So fans at home, be ready for a trivia question right when we see the conclusion of green flag pit stops. Got several people in the chat right now. Connor, hey, thanks, man, for joining us tonight. We're glad you're back. Says he's excited about NASCAR returning to Rockingham. Like, got Aaron E in the chat rooting for Jacob Cochran, that number 84. Dan E commenting on what a save by several of these drivers tonight. Let us know if you're here, what driver you are rooting for. Shout out in the chat right now. Pit Road getting busy. 84 of Jacob Cochran, your race leader. Stage 1 winner, leading them down. Evan Janik, Max Molina, Christian Barnes, and Adam Holston all following suit. Whose pit crew is going to work the fastest? Who's going to manage that throttle? Who's going to slide out of that pit stall the fastest? We're about to find out as these drivers come to the attention of their pit crews.
Yeah, Adam Holston going to turn in. He's going to be the first one of the leaders right here with that qualifying run that he had right here. A lot of these drivers coming around the bend right here, Ellis, into turns 1 and 2. A little bit of a difficult pit road to find your pit stall, especially if you're all the way down here at pit exit.
That curve around the corner makes it very, very difficult. And Chris, one car coming off pit road first, Joshua Gillen. Short amount of time spent in his pit stall, but Cochran, Janik, and Molina, along with Christian Barnes and Holston, will be the final 5 off the pit road behind Joshua Gillen. Not sure what happened there with Gillen. I'm seeing 26 seconds spent on pit lane. I'm wondering if he missed his pit stall or he might have taken 2 tires only, or maybe no tires, trying to save some for later in this race.
He's going to come to pit road this time, Ellis. Looks like he might have missed his pit stall before.
And we mentioned it. It's easy to do here. So, hey, what's not easy to miss is the trivia question we got coming up here. If you're playing at home, here are the rules. 4 trivia questions. First 2 correct answers in the chat will receive a point for that trivia question. The goal is to get the most points by the end of the night. We'll send you a free Brandon Jones diecast if you win. Chris, let's hit up that first trivia question. Let's see what we got tonight. We mentioned this in the opener. What spooky coincidence marked Rockingham's first ever NASCAR Cup race? And please put some vestige of the answer, not just a letter, but some element of the correct answer as your answer in the chat. Was it held on Halloween? Was it the fact that a black cat crossed pit road? Was it a full moon that might have caused delays at Rockingham's opener? Or the lights at Rockingham failed mid-race? What occurrence, spooky coincidence, happened at the first ever Rockingham Cup race in 1965 when it opened? Let us know in the chat what the correct answer is. Please, please, please give us some element of the correct answer in your response in the chat. First two correct answers going to take home the trivia point for question 1. We are green flag racing once again. Jacob Cochran on the outside. He's got Evan Janik to the inside. Max Molina to the outside trying to hold off Evan Janik. One car loose up the track, I believe. That was the 12 of Brandon Willard. He gets it going once again. Down the backstretch they go. Jacob Cochran still leads the way down into turn number 3.
Oh, Henson sideways, Ellis.
One car into him, hits it hard in the wall. It's going to like Brandon Willard on the outside. Everyone else looks to have gotten by it. It's going to put us under caution for the 5th time tonight. The 12 and the 12 and the 39 look to be the only 2 cars involved in that incident, fortunately, here on lap 45, just a couple laps after the restart to stage number 2.
Yeah, Ellis, this all started all the way back here to the entry of turn 3 right here. Both ends of this track, very different. This is the sort of wider sweeping corner right here. And all these cold tires, these new tires, these cars are driving very different than they did before. We see Henson get sideways right there. Tags the right side door right there. Christian Barnes going to go head on to the outside wall. Brandon Willard nowhere to go. We've seen Willard caught up in a lot of crashes like this season. But yeah, he's going to make contact with Henson right there. So unfortunately for Gavin Henson, his damage is pretty terminal. But we did see in the chat right here that there is one fast repair tonight. Unfortunately, I think he had to tow, so that's going to put him behind the 8 ball a little bit.
Yep, that fast repair doesn't do much good if you got the tow. You got to wait at least a couple of minutes to get that car restored. And it'll go probably several laps down, unfortunately, for both of those drivers here. Right now, Jacob Cochran is your leader on lap 46 of 150, working almost the third waypoint of this race. Cochran's your leader, Janik second, Max Molina third. One car that looks to be, I believe that was Gino Volante in the 23rd position going by, and that Sunoco number 35 getting a lap back here. It looks like he's 14 laps down, so he's going to need more than one lap back. But hey, shout out to him for working through the laps here despite facing a little bit of adversity early on in the going here, Chris. Hey, in the chat right now, we were looking at the trivia question there. The answer to the trivia question was it was held on Halloween. Several fans got in their answers here a moment ago. The top fast two answers were Dan E. and Connor. They're going to be on top of the leaderboard when we get to question 2 here later on in the race. But hey, even if you didn't get that question, didn't participate, there's still 3 questions left to get it done, and you could still have a shot to win that free Brandon Jones diecast, latest Xfinity Series winner at Darlington. Right now, these drivers trying to get their Xfinity cars to the front to get a win here at Rockingham. And we said earlier in the opener, Chris, Rockingham built by the same guy who built Darlington, and boy, does it show, because both of those tracks will eat up tires, and we're going to see how drivers can manage their tires as this race continues to go on. Right now, doubled up here, getting ready for the restart. Come to lap 48. Several cautions have maybe allowed several of these drivers to have a break and get away with a little bit of tire mismanagement on the outside. But if we get a green flag run here, we're going to find out quickly who's the tire management king. Everyone looks to get going decently. A couple of log jams on that restart. We mentioned these tires are tough not to spin on these restarts. Cochran and Janik look to have mastered it. They're off to the races. That is a battle for the lead right now. Up front, Janik in that 71 blue and white AmSoil machine. One car a little further back, that's point leader Adam Holston having a little bit of trouble on the outside line there. He gets going though. Single file, top 4, top 5. You got to go back to the 5th position, Chris. Shout out to David Moyer in that number 47. Hell of a run going for that driver, the black and red number 47. Trying to hold off Adam Holston in that 6th position right now. Moyer, shout out to him. This is the highest we've seen him run really all season long.
Yeah, great run tonight for Moyer. And yeah, I think that you mentioned, Ellis, this is a breakout performance for Moyer as we got another caution on the speedway. Looks like maybe Brad Nelson might have been involved in this. See a little bit of a wrinkle to the left front of the 33. So we'll go back and see if we can see what happened around that driver here. So making their way down the backstretch here and into turn 3. Yeah, that car gets sideways right there. It's going to lock it down and get down on the apron, and nice save by the 33.
Another save, but it's going to put us under caution. And Chris, if you're a driver, maybe having getting into the swing of things, maybe locking in just a little bit, are you frustrated to see that caution for what ended up not being an incident? We talked about how heads up and shout out to the Eagle Eye in the Sky, the race controller. But from a driver's perspective, is that frustrating?
Yeah, definitely, because you want to get some green flag laps, because you probably feel as a driver that if you can get going green here for a little bit, that this thing might be able to stretch out a little bit, and we might get some separation between some of these drivers. But if you are the race controller, that's your job, is to be watching the track and to make sure that everything is clear, and you have a split second to make that decision. So I don't envy the position of the race controller, that's for sure.
Hey, and let's talk about, while we got the camera up front, David Moyer running that 5th position. Just before that caution came out, we were talking about David just a little bit. Just to walk you through his season, past 4 races, 23rd at Texas, 21st at Talladega, Bristol was 19th, Las Vegas 15th. You got to go back to Martinsville to find the 7th position, Chris. It's not a similar track, but we might consider them both short tracks. David Moyer showcasing some skill on the brakes here, and with tire management here in the 5th position. Great job for him, maybe getting his season back on track in that black and red number 47. And hey, maybe I'm partial, but I like a good black and red paint scheme.
Yeah, and sometimes some drivers, this track right here is kind of an anomaly on the schedule. It's very different than some of the other tracks that they go to. So this track kind of sometimes will present some opportunities for some drivers that are looking for some good runs and might surprise some people. So David Moyer doing a heck of a job here tonight, looking real smooth out there in that 47.
Yeah, 47's looking racy. Christian Barnes, we mentioned him being a distant third in the points, but he's holding his own right now. Third on track, I should say fourth on the outside of row 2's where he's going to restart this race coming to lap number 53. Drivers did take the choose rule. Jacob Cochran, your leader, Chris, chose the outside probably at this point in the race. Shouldn't surprise you that leader chose the outside. That does seem to be where the 84 is more comfortable. And Chris, I think it's going to get real interesting if we get a long green flag run here to see where these drivers shake out on tire wear. I think we talked about it a lot. I'm just eager to see if we can't get a green flag run and really separate the field a little bit in terms of who's doing a better job of holding on to those tires. They crossed the cheerwine sign. We're green flag racing once again. Jacob Cochran darts out to a lead. He's got Evan Janik not too far behind. They head down in turn 1. Molina to the inside of Christian Barnes in that number 27. It's a battle for the third position. Molina's going to walk away the victor on that one. One car off the wall, the 47 and Moyer. Can the 7 avoid them? The 29, they're all going to check up. It's going to be a big one headed down into turn number 3. The 47 did his best to lock up the brakes, but it's an 8-car pileup down into turn 3. The 47 more. Reggie Kine, Brandon Willard found his way into this one again. The 11, the 33, and then the 77 of Zach White, all in the fray here. Boy, Chris, this one was a tank slapper that was going for at least 2 corners.
Yeah, it was. We're going to go back and watch what happened right here. Yeah, he fought it all the way down the backstretch, and he tried to save it. Unfortunately, yeah, you mentioned it. He just couldn't keep up with it, and eventually it went head on into the outside wall right there. And and that last shot right there shot him back down into the field's path right there. Jewett, Pollock, Wasaki, several cars involved right here. Brandon Willard looks like he might have some damage as well. Reggie Kime sneaking through right there. So a lot of cars involved, Ellis.
Yeah, we mentioned at least an 8-car pileup. We thought we might be able to avoid calamity at first, and Chris, that might have been one of those cautions where an early yellow might have saved the day, but several drivers continued to race under the green and just plowed into it. That is unfortunately the way the chips fell there. We're on lap 55, 150, still trying to get some green flag racing here in at Rockingham. Caution number 7 on the evening, lap 55 of 150. Almost working our way towards the halfway point in just a little while. If you're in the chat, let us know who you're rooting for. Hey, I did hear in the chat it is Gino Volante's birthday. Maybe not going the way he wanted it to, 14 laps down, but old Gino on that 35, he's still rolling his way around. And hey, if he's let's see if we can't get him in the Discord. Wish him a happy birthday here. Let's see if where's Gino? Where's Gino? There he is. We're going to bring him in. You ready for it, Chris?
I'm ready.
All right, he's in Race Chat 3. Hey, Gino, this is Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
Hey, man, I got a copy. How you doing?
Hey, man, happy birthday. They're not trolling us, are they? It's your birthday?
It was my birthday last month. These guys were fun with me.
Oh, man. Well, hey, we were going to say your birthday maybe not going the way you wanted to. What happened early on there that put you back in 23rd?
I just got loose going in on cold tires.
Talk to us. What's the frustration level out there like on the track right now between drivers? Are tempers flaring a little bit yet?
For the most part, everybody's pretty calm.
Okay, well, we're glad to hear that. And hey, happy belated birthday from last week. We're going to let you get back to your race chat. But hey, thanks for sticking around and running those laps, man. Gritting it out. That's some tough driving there.
Thanks. I appreciate you guys, man. You do a hell of a job.
Hey, we appreciate you. Good luck out there the rest of the night. All right, Chris, we heard from Gino Volante getting ready for the restart here. It's going to be Jacob Cochran on the outside leading Evan Janik. Pace car peels off. They across the cheerwine sign. Jacob Cochran gets off to a good start. Malcolm Capo might have been a little bit late on the start there. Might have spun the tires. One car down to the apron. That's the 77 of Zach White. We keep on going. Single file drivers appear to have straightened it out all the way through the top 15. You really have to go all the way back to 12 between Douglas Wasaki and Derek Jewett. A battle for the 12th position. Not going to be much competition. Jewett's going to work his way by into that 12th position, trying to climb his way back up into the field after some tough luck early on in the race twice. That car's rolled over, Chris. Having a hard time believing believing that watching that 45 rip around the track right now.
Yeah, it looks like he has taken that fast repair, and he's got some fresh tires on that thing right now. A lot of the drivers that were in that crash right there have taken those tires, and they're zipping up through the field.
Yeah, you definitely like to feel like Superman, but what's the price you're going to pay later on in the race for the fans at home as we cross over to lap number 59 of 150?
Well, you know, it does put you a set of tires possibly behind some of these other drivers who are holding on to a set for later in the race, so that might hurt you in the long run if you've got a set down on the rest of the field. But we'll have to see how that works out for those drivers. But you know, sometimes you're in a position where you can't really do anything else.
Can't do anything else right now. Evan Janik, Chris, he's been able to keep track of the number 84, maybe better on this restart on lap number 60 than I've seen him really do much earlier in the race. 71 just about 3 car lengths back off the back bumper of that number 84. Jacob Cochran, the Talladega winner, trying to take on Evan Janik here. He's the leader. Janik trying to change that, headed down into turn number 1. Chris, Janik, let's just walk through Janik's season as we watch them work their way around the track right now. It's been a great one, honestly. Average finish. He's got 7 top 10s. He's got 6 top 5s. He's led 30 laps this season, more than 30 laps this season, I should say. That stat is not necessarily correct, but finished 8th last week at Texas. He's finished in the top 10 all but 1 week at Talladega, Chris, which we know can be a wild card week any week. How important is consistency? One car loose off the corner there. I believe that was Max Molina. But how important is consistency when it comes to winning a championship, even in this sort of playoff chase format?
I mean, it's still important, even, you know, in a format that rewards people who find their way to victory lane. It is still very important because those drivers that are consistent, they are going to find themselves in victory lane at some point. It was Janik right there gets really loose off of turn 2. He's really putting the pedal to the metal right here on this restart. Yeah, I still think it's very important, you know, to keep yourself in position week in and week out up there. And, you know, Evan Janik, while he has been consistent, he's also been, you know, I feel like he could easily have 3 or 4 wins on this season. He's been that quick.
I think you're absolutely right. He's got 1 win, but looking for more, Chris. A little bit further back in the pack, battle brewing between the 7 of Malcolm Capo. Derek Jewett, this is battle for the 7th position. Jewett's been working on Capo for a couple of laps. Brad Nelson back in that 3-car fight as well as they work their way through turns 4. Come down the front straightaway. Jewett, we mentioned on fresh tires earlier. Capo, heck of a job after saving it early. Worked his way back up to the 7th position. We mentioned what a good night he was having out there in that 7. Hopefully he can continue that momentum in that red, white, and blue car. But Brad Nelson going to have something to say about that. Trying to work his way. 1 car, the 29, up into the wall right in front of them. No harm, no foul. Took my breath away and likely his, but we're still green flag racing across the front straightaway.
Yeah, Joshua Thornton right here. How about, yeah, give a call to Thornton right here in that 29 car. Been really consistent all night. Been seeing him try to avoid some of the chaos, and he's done a nice job in that 29 car. And he's not a driver that we've seen in every single race this season, but definitely putting on a heck of a performance tonight.
And speaking of heck of performances right now, 12th position, Chris, Brett Wren and Gavin Henson. These guys are going at it right now. Henson on the inside, and that 39. Red contact between the two. Oh, buddy, we about had all sorts. Henson is there it is right now. Gavin Henson, the 24. Wren careened off of the turn 2 wall. Henson was there to collect him. 1 car. Volante head on into it. We're under caution for the 8th time tonight on lap 68. Rut Road. Spaghetti 01. Oh, I thought that was the pace car. I thought that was another car, not the pace. We're about to go through Reggie Kime there in that number 9. Boy, Chris, we were just talking about Gavin Henson. I was getting ready to talk about the increased speed we've seen in that number 39 in the past few weeks. A 6th at Bristol, a 12th at Texas. Had an off week at Talladega with a 24th, but right inside the top 6 until calamity struck. Commentator's curse happened, and he's going to be coming down pit road with Gino there. But boy, another caution, Chris. We've struggled. We've almost found ourselves in some good green flag runs, but loose race cars and tight conditions off the corners with these cars hitting the wall, and that 39 just kind of came down. There was nowhere to go.
Yeah, and that's, very unfortunate for Gavin Henson right there. It looks like we might have gone back live right here. So we'll try to go back, see if we can get another view of that crash. Yeah, it looks like we kind of missed the action right here, so we'll try to go backwards right here. Yeah, Gavin Henson actually got caught up in a crash earlier, had to tow back to the pits. He had that head-on collision in the outside wall right there in turns 3 and 4. Unfortunately for him, that put him a lap down, so he was not on the lead lap right here when he made this contact with Brett Wren, which is a little bit frustrating if you are Brett Wren probably. And Gino Volante right here, also several laps down. Volante is going to get hit from behind by the 91, and that's going to push him into the side of the 39 right there of Henson. Zach White doing a nice job right there, making evasive moves to get through that crash.
Yeah, he's done that a couple times tonight. Hey, in the chat, Danny says that they're probably not friends anymore. I bet they'll keep on talking. I'm sure a few comments were made, but this is a league that has a lot of great friendships, a lot of camaraderie, and it definitely shows on the track. There might be a discussion after the incident, but hurt feelings, don't last too long around here in Mystic Racing League. Right now, getting ready to go double file for this restart, taking the choose rule. Cochran, no surprise, takes the outside. Evan Janik on the inside. Adam Holson, Chris, don't look now, but after starting in the 18th position, he's up to 3rd right now. Trying to make up any ground he might have lost on Janik last week. Holston done a pretty good job early on in this race, Chris, and right now we're starting to see maybe a point where the tire handling is going away a little bit on these Goodyears here at Rockingham. This abrasive racing surface has chewed them up, and it's chewed several cars up and spit them out tonight. Just approaching the halfway point here. Getting ready. Stage 2 has 15 laps left in it. 85 lap is the marker for the end of Stage 2. 15 laps until we hit that from now. Pace car is going to peel off. It's going to be on that black and blue 84 Ghost Energy machine. He's going to mash the throttle. Doesn't spin the tires. Look like everyone might have gotten away cleanly on this one. 27 of Christian Barnes, a little sluggish on the start there, just taking it easy on those tires. Top 5, single file, you're going to go back to the battle for 6th position. Jewett and the number 29 of Joshua Thornton doing battle. Jewett's going to come out on top of that one. They both hit the inside line and slide up to Diamond. Turns 3 and 4, single file all the way back, taking it all the way back. I believe in the 11th position, Alex Pollock working his way by the 7 of Malcolm Capo on that outside line. And boy, you can really carry some speed in there, but you got to be careful not to hit that wall, Chris. We've seen several drivers not really pull off those passes into the corner and maybe careen off of the turn 2 wall, sending them down the track. And we've seen some incident speed sparked tonight by that outside line. That temptation definitely is a siren song several of these drivers are hearing being called early on right now, getting ready to cross the halfway point here for race number 11 of the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series. Jacob Cochran, still your leader.
Yeah, that area right there off of turn 2, Ellis, is proved to be a trouble spot all night tonight, where these cars, it's like they got magnets. They just kind of come together right there on the exit, and it's almost like exit of turn 2 at Darlington in a way. We've talked about the similarities between the two tracks. They are very different, but, there are some mentality approaches I think that actually apply to both of them here. As it looks like the 78 looking to the inside of the 7 right there. Hunt to the inside of Capo.
Hunt to the inside of the 7, down into turn 3 and 4. Capo into the wall just a little bit, just what we were talking about. He's going to have to watch it on the exit of turn 4 down the front straightaway. Hunt takes that position, but Capo fights back for the 12th position, or the 11th position. Putting the slit a sheet of paper in between the 78 and the 7 as they wrap the corner there. Both come down the back straightaway. Capo has to lift up the throttle to avoid that backstretch wall. It's going to open him up to, I would say, Brandon Willard, not on the lead lap, but definitely got a fast car underneath him. Willard currently in the 21st position, 14 laps down, but he's got a fresh set of tires and fresh sheet metal on that 12, trying to work his way back by Caleb Hunt. Not a battle for position, but boy, Chris, we mentioned Brandon Willard. If there's a crash, it's like a magnet. That car just goes to it, not even by his own fault. But right now, has he got M&Ms on the front of that thing?
I think he does. That's a little bit of maybe a Kyle Busch sort of alternate paint scheme right there. But yeah, it's looking good right
Not
there.
sure
We
what that is.
Battle for 4th right here, Ellis, between the 45 and the 27. Jewett looking to take that from Christian Barnes, who has a little connection flash right there. Jewett's going to complete the pass.
Jewett's got those fresh tires. He's been fast since the last couple of restarts. He rolled it over on the backstretch, but that car is no worse for wear after a quick repair. He crosses the start-finish line in fourth, lap 78 of 150 past the halfway point. 7 laps left in stage number 2. Stage points being awarded to the top 5 when they cross the line on lap 85. And we'll have some more trivia coming up to you at the end of stage number 2. If you haven't played yet, you still got a chance to win. Send some friends over. If you're watching right now and you haven't hit the subscribe button, it doesn't cost you a thing. It just means you get great live iRacing each and every week. We're going to have 3 nights a week coming up here this summer. We're gearing up for that. 3 great series. One of them you're watching right now. But make sure to hit subscribe and hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done so. Helps us out tremendously and gets more eyes on your favorite drivers that you've tuned in to watch right now. Jacob Cochran continues to lead. Evan Janik second. Third is Max Molina. Last week's Texas winner proved last week wasn't a fluke. He's got speed this week. He worked the tire strategy to his advantage last week in Texas. Can he do it this week? Derek Jewett, he's got a fast hot rod under him with Christian Barnes in tow. That is your top 5. There is a battle going on right now between Brad Nelson and Adam Holston. That's for 8th position. We've seen Brad Nelson in and out of the top 10 a couple times tonight, but that 33 has got it wound up there. He's on the inside. Adam Holston choosing that high lane through turns 1 and 2. Looks like Nelson thinks about trying to bring it up to the middle of the track. I'm seeing several drivers diamond these corners, Chris. How effective is that of a strategy, and how does the geometry work there for fans watching at home?
Yeah, Ellis, I think that this is probably the track where, you see, the most amount of diamonding, other than maybe Darlington and New Hampshire. I think it's very effective here as far as the NASCAR schedule tracks go, especially down here on this end. I've never really liked diamonding 3 and 4 as much, but down here in 1 and 2, where we see Adam Holston sort of make that lunge back down to the bottom right there, I think it's very effective down there as these drivers are approaching the end of stage number 2. I think that that's something that we're going to continue to see all night long.
Geometry, the name of the game. Tire wear, the name of the game here at Rockingham. Just 3 laps left in stage number 2. Boy, Chris, almost a collision between Brandon Willard and Joshua Thornton there. Willard a lap down. Car Thornton off the wall down the backstretch. Loses a couple spots. He gathers it back up. That was for 7th position, Chris. And right now, doesn't look like anyone's going to have anything for Jacob Cochran. They've closed the lead up a little bit, but Chris, the big battle's for second right now. Max Molina wants second place stage points. Jewett off the wall hard. Left side down into the backstretch wall. We will continue under green flag conditions. Jewett gets it going down there on the apron. Can he pull it up without losing control of that race car? He does. We're still green flag racing. Just 2 laps left in stage number. Now 1 lap left in stage number 2 at Rockingham. It's going to be Cochran pending some sort of catastrophic accident as he tries to lap the 41 car. Janik and Molina continue to do battle. There is the caution. Not sure if that was for a race car potentially or if they just threw the caution a little bit early there. I don't see anyone having trouble on the racetrack. I think that might have been very well the stage number 2 conclusion caution.
Yeah, I think so as well. And, it will be the end of stage 2. So, Jacob Cochran going to pick up the points. And it's been a pretty dominant performance tonight from that driver of the 84, hasn't it?
It really has. Talladega win. Jacob Cochran picking up where he left off at Talladega. Just going to look through the stats right now for Jacob Cochran to kind of give you a picture of what he's done the rest of the season. Texas, he finished 9th. That was the only race he's run since Talladega, but he had a 3rd and a 4th at Las Vegas and Martinsville, respectively. 5 races run this season, Chris. His average finish is 8th, finishing in the top 10 85% of the time. So great job. I should not say 85% of the time. He's actually top 10, 80. Math here, 80% of the time. Yeah, we teach history for a reason.
I'm going to take your word for it.
Yeah, take my word for it, said the guy who's not a math teacher. But right now, these drivers are doing the math. 87, 150, Chris, that is 64 laps. We believe the fuel window is somewhere between 60 and 65 laps. This could be a close one. I think drivers are going to try to make it the rest of the way on one tank if we don't get a caution, potentially.
Yeah, I think that, we very well could see that. I think that's mighty bold of you to think that we won't get a caution the way this night has gone.
It's wishful thinking. It's wishful thinking.
Yeah. So it definitely could be a possibility, and if they do, yeah, who knows? Who knows if they can make it to the end? It definitely seems like it would be close, but I think that we'll definitely probably have some yellow flags in this final stage that will make that a non-issue.
I think you are absolutely right. Right now, cars coming down pit road. Cochran's going to lead them that way to the attention of their pit crew. Yellow flag pit stops coming up for the second time tonight, at least for the leaders. Going to be Cochran rolling his way down pit road to the attention of his pit crew. Janik, Molina, Barnes right behind him. Jewett, who we saw almost flirt with disaster there off turn number 2 earlier, right before that stage 2 concluded. He's in 5th position, having a good night going. He's going to have limited sets of tires, Chris. This might be his last set that he takes if he does elect to take a set of tires here. I'm going to see if anyone's going to roll the dice, take a gamble off of pit road. Right side of the car is being jacked up right now. Left side's to follow. Who's going to come off pit road first? Christian Barnes is the first car to roll. He's got momentum, but it's going to be Cochran, Molina, Janik, and Barnes. That's your top 4. Now, Chris, let's talk about a little trivia. Couple answers were correct last time. Halloween was when NASCAR made its debut at Darlington Raceway. Question 2. Reminder, first 2 correct answers in the chat get the point. We're giving away a Brandon Jones diecast tonight. Question 2. What major U.S. Army base is located just less than an hour from Rockingham Speedway? Is it Fort Jackson, Camp Lejeune, Fort Bragg, now known as Fort Liberty, or Fort Benning? Which one of those Army bases is located just less than an hour from the Rock? Let us know in the chat which Army base that is, and top 2 correct answers in the chat will get a trivia point. Playing for a Brandon Jones diecast tonight, Xfinity Series diecast. Max Molina is going to choose the inside. Jacob Cochran did choose the outside as the leader. Connor, you did get that last question correct. You are in the top 2 on the leaderboard for trivia right now. If you're watching, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Send some friends over. Get a little bit of a watch party going here for the conclusion. The last 60 laps. They're going to go by fast here at Rockingham. If you got friends who enjoy racing or iRacing, send them the link. Get them in here. Let's get talking about who we're thinking going to win this race and what's going to happen in the final portion of it. Jacob Cochran waiting for that pace car to make that hard left turn. He's going to be the control car on the restart here. Molina to the inside. Cochran, another masterful restart. Janik, really good jump. Is going to go by Molina on the outside. They're going to do battle. Can he carry the momentum? The answer is yes. Molina lets him slot in there in second position. Molina back to third. First big side-by-side battle. The 11 of Wasaki and Caleb Hunt fight for 7th position down the back straightaway into turns 3. It's Wasaki in that 11 in the top 10, but for the first time tonight in that green and white number 11 machine, letting a couple cars by. He's back to 9th position right now as Capo and Hunt work their way back by into the top 10 for maybe the second or third time tonight right now. Top 10 single file. Looking for the first battle, Chris. These drivers are doing a good job. I will say we love racing, but we also love it when they get in the groove and get locked in, as the kids say, Chris. So right now, hey, speaking of kids, in the chat, kids love to say the chat. Let us know who you think's going to win this race. If you are in the YouTube chat right now,
Ellis, the 29s around.
Sideways. Joshua Thornton into the wall hard. Middle of the backstretch, cars soar by. Everyone's gonna. Oh boy, I thought Brandon Willard might just
I thought he was gonna go try to find him.
I thought he was going for it too. He's trolling us now. Danny says it's not called Fort Bragg anymore. Like I did say, it is called Fort Liberty at this point. But a couple answers in the chat. Let's see what we got. Correct answer to that last trivia question before we review what happened here under this caution. The correct answer was Fort Liberty. Fort Bragg will accept either one of them. It's going to be Alan Madonna and Jake Jarrett getting the points on that. First time trivia players, I think, tonight. Good job, guys. We'll put you in the leaderboard. Chris, what happened to bring out caution number 9 on the Speedway?
Yeah, I think it's another situation, Ellis, where we had a car get a little bit free right there off of turn 2. Turn 2 seems to have been the trouble spot all night tonight, and Joshua Thornton, we were we were bragging on him earlier. He was having a great performance here. Unfortunately, just got a little bit free right there off of the exit of turn 2, tags the inside retaining wall. And, you know, that's just, it's been the trouble spot all night. And these drivers have had a difficult time navigating their way around that end of the speedway.
It has been a trouble spot all night long. Hey, man, we're running out of laps here. 55 laps left, probably going to be about 53 when we get this restart. We've seen some green flag runs. We haven't seen, I think, the long fuel run that we were anticipating, but I think this will allow drivers to make it to the end on gas. If anyone wants to try to make that happen. Jake Jarrett in the chat says, just found this league. Looking forward to watching going forward. Appreciate you, Jake. Thanks for subscribing. Make sure you hit that like button as well. We're glad you found us. And share us with your friends if you want to bring some friends in here for a watch party. See if you can't win this trivia in just a little bit. Right now, Jacob Cochran, he's focused on winning the race. He won Talladega a couple of weeks ago, trying to climb his way higher in the points after missing a few starts this season, trying to make those championship playoffs towards the end of the season. He's going to have to worry about Max Molina and Evan Janik, and maybe even Christian Barnes. And Chris, I think it's safe to say he might have to worry about Caleb Hunt. We talked to him in pre-race before this thing is done. He's found himself in the top 6 here with just the final third of the race remaining. Talked about Caleb Hunt kind of picking up steam the past 3, 4, 5 weeks and continuing to build on that success right here.
Yeah, absolutely. He's continuing to march his way up through the field right here. Very, very consistent here as of late, Ellis, and wouldn't be a bit surprised at all to see him finding himself up there in contention at the end of this thing. It's kind of been his MO lately, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think he's been in the conversation a couple times in the past few weeks. Right now, it's Jacob Cochran and Max Molina who are finding themselves at the front of the conversation, the front of the field. It's going to be Cochran who is the control car on this restart. It's up to him to mash that throttle to get us going. He's done a good job of not spinning the tires. Let's see if anyone spins the tires on this restart. He enters the restart zone. A little bit slow on the roll there, but everyone follows suit. Looks like if anyone had trouble, it was the 11 of Wasaki, but even he gets going here back in the 9th position. To battle for second, Janik on the outside, Molina side by side on the inside. They head down the backstretch right now. Looks like Janik's going to get the better end of that battle as they head down into turn 3. Janik sets sights on the number 84 up top, trying to work his way by Cochran. He gets a run off the corner, Chris. This might be the 71's opportunity to lead the race for the first time tonight. Janik rolls to the inside. 84 of Cochran climbs the banking. They're side by side. Cochran has to lift. He's the first one to blink off the corner. Cochran, for the first time tonight, finds himself in second. Janik, the points leader, up into P1. At 27 of Christian Barnes, not far behind, Chris. That 71 and the 27, they picked up speed in the past couple of laps.
Yeah, they definitely have right here. As Barnes is actually peeking to the inside right here of Cochran, trying to show that nose on the entry right there in the corner. Maybe get Jacob Cochran looking in that mirror. Cochran a little bit free right there off the corner. Ooh, so is Malcolm Compo.
Sideways. Yeah, sorry about that. I saw blue and white sideways. That 7. Didn't want to see the 7 on the side of that car down the backstretch, but we did. Capo does a heck of a job saving it, but he's going to have to deal with Derek Jewett to the inside, making it 3 wide. Points leader Adam Holson's going to have to be careful. Jewett lifts off the throttle, shows a little bit of discretion, gets right back in it. Oh, there's Holston into the wall. Almost gets Jewett down into turn 3 they go. That's been a danger zone all night long, Chris. The outside and the exit of turn number 2. It almost struck once again there.
Yeah, it did. They were really, really close right there, but luckily everybody's going to keep it straight. Jewett right now looking to the inside of Malcolm Capo. Jewett, I mean, really all these drivers right here have found themselves in the midst of adversity all night tonight. Jewett going to try to pass Capo right here on the inside. He's going to complete the pass going in turn 3. So move that 45 up to the 7th spot.
45 P7. Jewett worked his way back into the top 10. Capo back to 8th. They've got Brad Nelson in tow back in the 33, back in 9th position. They're all working on Joshua Gillen, that Minute Maid Lemonade car. He's thirsty for a top 5, Chris. He's in 6th position. You can sigh. You can sigh.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm just getting used to it. He's in the wall.
Thirsty for the wall there on the exit of turn number 4. He's going to lose that spot to Derek Jewett. Mark Jewett down for P number 6 as they cross the line.
Oh, some
49
contact.
laps left.
Capo sideways.
Oh boy, Capo with the 4th save of his race somehow holds on to it. Race control holds that flag. We're still under green flag racing conditions here as they work their way down the backstretch. Capo's got the 33 of Brad Nelson. That black and green car crosses Capo over on the exit of turn number 4. Masterful job by Brad Nelson. That number 33 showcasing some skill there off of turn number 4.
Yeah, that was a difference in the entry speed to turn 1 right there as those drivers, they had a little bit different ideas in mind right there about how hard they should drive in right there, and there was some contact, but luckily Malcolm Capo did a great job of keeping it straight. We're still green.
And Chris, cue the Jaws music up front. Evan Janik has about a car length and a half lead over Jacob Cochran. Talladega winner Cochran has been the fast car all night. He's eager to get back to the lead, but showing a little bit of patience here as they work their way down into turn number 3. Cochran loses about a car length, but he looks to pick it back up on the exit. The 71 has found his sea legs. He's found some speed in that blue and white Amsoil car. They cross the line and take lap 105 of 150 in race number 11 for the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series for Mystic Racing League. Don't go anywhere, folks. You are seeing some great racing, and preemptively, I know Connor's going to ask for it. Chris, do we have some Crank It Up cams tonight?
Yeah, I think that we can do that tonight.
All right, let's hear the sights and sounds of Rockingham Speedway. We're going to take a couple of laps, crank it up. If you got some volume, crank it all the way up. You won't regret it. Battle for the lead here at Rockingham. The closing laps have begun. Just 40 laps left. We're potentially talking about maybe 15 minutes left of green flag racing. Jacob Cochran is that black and blue car giving chase to Evan Janik. Both of them have one win apiece this season. Cochran last week at Talladega, Janik earlier in the season. Janik riding that outside line, the 84 of Cochran, just a little bit lower, and I'm curious if that's going to play a role in the way these tires shake out. Cochran looks to be getting faster than Janik as the run goes on, and here comes Cochran. He makes a move to the inside. Janik's going to have the speed off the corner, but Cochran is not going to relent. He's going to keep a nose to the inside. He's going to have to wait another lap if it's going to happen. And Max Molina back in 4th position looks to be closing on Christian Barnes. Are we getting ready to see the cars that have been fastest all night long work their way back up to the front? They're going to have to clear the 01 of Stephen Gill, who's running the high line, if they're going to make it right now. Lap 111 of 150. Janik is your leader in the 71. Jacob Cochran second. It's a battle between Barnes and Molina for the 3rd position right now. Going further back on the track, Chris, Brad Nelson and Adam Holston, great little battle going on for the 6th position right now. Looks like Holston's going to get by on the inside. He's going to have to deal with Caleb Hunt. Looks like Nelson's been kind of a crossover master tonight a couple times, hasn't he, Chris?
Yeah, he's done a really nice job of getting off of turn 2 and trying to utilize that momentum that he's able to have right there on the exit of the corner. Man, he got really close up here for the lead right here as Cochran. Oh, here comes Cochran to the inside, Ellis of Janik. He's got to run.
Battle for the lead as the 84's got the run, headed down into turn number 3. Janik's going to try to fight it off to his outside, side by side. They're going to be careful as they exit the corner. It's a nose distance to the lead for the 71 of Evan Janik. Wiggles his rear end to the outside there, a little bit loose for the 71, comes back down the track. They've got to be careful. We mentioned side by side in the exit of turn 2. Just like at Darlington, it is dangerous, and both of these drivers, the top of their class, made it work that time. But how many more times can they make it work? Janik slides out of the throttle as the 84 of Cochran almost slides across the nose of that 71 blue and white Amsoil machine. Meanwhile, behind them, Max Molina, they've closed the distance. That two-car duo of Molina and Barnes, they're slowly creeping back into the picture. It's going to be a four-way battle for the lead in the closing laps of this race number 11 for MRL here at Rockingham. Cochran, your lead car. It's about a second. Just a second separates the top 4 machines on the track right now. Meanwhile, Brad Nelson and Adam Holston continue to do battle for the 7th and 6th position, respectively. I think Holston might have gotten the better end of that, but caution is on the speedway right now.
Malcolm Capo, Ellis. I heard him go sideways, and that was the longest run, Ellis, that we've had really all night. Oh, boy.
And you started to see it play a role as well. I think we saw some comers and some goers. Lap times were getting some gaps in them for those leaders, Chris. But, yeah, you mentioned Malcolm Capo crab walking down the backstretch. That's not a sight you want to see.
Not at all right here. But, yeah, we're going to see what happened right here. It looks like he and possibly the 91 here, they make some contact right here. That's Zukov in that number 91. Alan Zukov. They get together, going to turn Capo towards that inside wall. Capo's going to turn those wheels back to the right, going to collect Alan Zukov. Those drivers hard into the outside wall, and that's where that crab walking in that Ford Mustang that you see, that's where that occurred.
Hey, in the chat, Connor mentioned John Edwards for Hendrick Motorsports. Not sure what that's about. Connor, let us know in the chat. Yeah. Who was John Edwards? You mentioned that he passed away.
Yeah, John Edwards is the PR guy. He was the PR guy many years for Jeff Gordon. Sort of unexpectedly, I think, passed away today.
That's unfortunate. Sorry to hear that. Right now, Jacob Cochran scored as your leader. Chris, I'm curious if we're going to get any green flag, caution pit stops. Looks like we are. The question's been answered. Your leaders are coming down pit road. Does anyone roll the dice here? I don't know if I would agree with that strategy, but it looks like everyone going to come down pit road, at least inside the top 10, for a fresh set of tires to potentially get them to the finish for the final 30 laps of this shootout at Rockingham.
Yeah, it looks like all these drivers taking 4 tires. I think that's the strategy here. Set themselves up here for the closing laps of the race. Yeah, Ellis, we saw right there the longest green flag run of the night. I think that a lot of drivers kind of find themselves in a little bit of trouble right there. Well, we haven't gone green long enough, really, for these drivers to get a feel for what they need to do with their tires. I mean, obviously, they're really good and talented, and they know what to do, but there's nothing like actually doing it out there on the track for the first time. So I think that maybe some drivers got a little bit surprised on that run as we continue to go green there.
A little bit surprised indeed. We're going to have a little bit more time for trivia, but right now, cars getting gridded up on the racetrack. Not sure what happened. Chris, you still got me?
Yeah, still got you loud and clear.
Yeah, lost iRacing. We're going to see what's going on here. Hopefully I haven't gotten kicked yet. My connection is a little bit stagnant. I've lost my timing, so it might take me a second to get this thing back up and running. I'll let you carry it for just a moment, Chris. Yeah, go ahead.
See what we can do right here to get you a view also while you try to get that back up and running. But yeah, the field's going to work their way through turns 3 and 4 behind the pace car. Jacob Cochran elected to take that outside lane again like he has done all night right here. Seems like he is doing that by, thinking about trying to get that run off of turn 2, which has been a very effective strategy all night for the driver of the 84. Pace car is going to make its way down right here. And Jacob Cochran's going to accelerate in this restart zone. Green flag back in the air. See if these drivers are able to work their way through these opening laps on these cold tires right here. Cochran gets a nice jump right there. Janik is going to fall in line right here. These drivers single file through the top 5 positions. That's Adam Holston. Ooh, Molina gets a little bit loose off of turn 2. I think maybe Evan Janik also got a little bit loose right there. Derek Jewett going to be rocking that high line right there. Ellis trying to get his way up into the this top 4 position right here. As, Jacob Cochran is checked out. right here in the opening
this
lap.
has been the biggest lead that we've seen Cochran get on a restart, but we've got a caution on the speedway, lap 121. Let's see if we can't figure out. I see Caleb Hunt might have been the culprit of that one, Chris. Unfortunate if you're Hunt. He had such a good run going tonight. Had been in the top 10, I believe, when that happened.
Yeah, here is Caleb Hunt. Oh, yeah, he ran up on the back of those guys, and yeah, he was trying not to run into them. And that car just got around on him. These drivers carry a lot of rear brake here at Rockingham, Ellis. They try to make it to where that car will turn to the bottom under braking, because you have to use a fair amount of brakes here. And it looked like to me we're going to ride on board with him. Close up on the back of Brad Nelson real fast, and yeah, just got away from him. He hooked it right into the wall, went head on into the wall. And that's going to be the end of that one right there, the end of that car. Don't know if he's got a fast repair left, but hopefully he does, and he's able to get back out here.
Yeah, I think that is. I think he might have already used his quick repair. We watch him sit in the pits for a good long while there. Where we are right now, lap 122 of 150. We're going to get going with about 26 laps or so to go. This is going to be a Saturday night, really, I guess a Thursday night shootout as we get ready to take the green flag once again. Drivers waiting for that choose rule in a lap or so. Didn't see anyone come down pit road that time by, but Jacob Cochran, we mentioned it, Chris, that was the biggest jump he's got on the field on that restart. So curious to see if Evan Janik learned anything. Maybe he saw Cochran do anything significantly different from what he's been doing earlier in the race. Max Molina, you mentioned, had a little bit of trouble on that restart. Last week's winner from Texas, trying to go after back-to-back wins here at Rockingham, a very different track. And then, Chris, don't mention it now, but Derek Jewett, if he comes back to win this thing, that is the comeback of the race, maybe the comeback of the season for that 45 after rolling that thing over early on in the race. Right now, let's go ahead and hit up some trivia. Third question of the night. Remember, top two correct answers in the chat. The fastest two correct answers get the points. You can see the leaderboard has been updated. Here's your question. What style of barbecue is a point of pride in the Rockingham area? Is it a Memphis dry rub, mustard-based ribs, Texas-style brisket, or vinegar-based pork barbecue? What is the correct answer to that trivia question? Points available. Giving away that free Brandon Jones die-cast. Chris, feel free to shut down that live stream of the race for me. I'm good to go. Don't want to lose any bandwidth on your part. Right now, see if you can't get that correct answer in the chat. Drivers getting ready for the restart. Cochran, not surprisingly, took that outside line. It's going to be Molina to the inside. We got fans at home trying to win trivia. We got drivers on the track trying to win this race at Rockingham. Cochran and Molina with a win apiece. Janik with a win apiece. The one driver in that top four who is not yet to visit victory lane this season in Mystic Racing League. That's Derek Jewett. He's the wild card, the dark horse in that number 45. Pace car getting ready to pull off. 26 laps to go here. We're under green flag conditions. One car slow off the line. Barnes with a little bit of a slow restart, but Cochran gets going nonetheless. That's been the fastest car on the speedway the last several laps. Molina and Janik do battle off of turn number 2. One car, Jewett slides off the top of turn number 3, down the banking to turn number 3's apron. He's safe, but he's going to lose 3, 4, 5 positions and maybe a chance to win. With it, we continue green flag racing here. Big hornet's nest back there, Chris. Jewett, Thornton, the number 33 of Brad Nelson, and Joshua Gillen. Throw a blanket over them right now. This is a battle for the 6th position. All right, continuing. Here we go. Caleb Hunt off the corner there. Down the front straightaway, Brad Nelson and Joshua Thornton making a go of it here. Not sure what's happening. Chris, hopefully your audio is okay. I'm not hearing you on your end. I do hear you now.
I apologize for that. Had a little technical difficulty right there. But yeah, Janik has moved clearly into the 2nd spot. We had a little battle for second going on right there with Molina, but he has cleared Molina. And now we got a battle right here around the 7th spot right here. That's Joshua Thornton looking to the inside of Caleb Hunt, who is a lap down, but it's going to bring Brad Nelson into things.
Brad Nelson, good night, going all night long. The 33 into the wall, almost off the corner, has to lift. Gillen's going to take advantage.
Oh, we got trouble, Ellis. Zach White is sideways into the inside wall hard.
Oh, Volante into the wall hard as well. Got the back two wheels up off the car. The 77, Zachary White's going to put us under caution for the 12th time tonight here at Rockingham. This is going to set us up for a 15-lap showdown. And boy, Chris, I thought we were going to have a nice little green flag run there, but not to be. The laps are ticking away. The clock is ticking. 130 laps of 150 in the book right now. You got one more chance to get that trivia answer in. What style of barbecue? Point of pride in the Rockingham area. Vinegar, brisket, ribs, or Mythmas dry rub? We'll give you the answer here in just a moment. But I don't think we're going to see... Oh, boy, Christian Barnes, Chris. Christian Barnes and Derek Jewett are going to lead several cars, I should say only two cars down pit road. Do these cars have a fresh set of tires, and is there enough time for these to make a difference?
I mean, I think I want to be on offense, Ellis. It's a little bit difficult to be able to make your way up through the field in the amount of time that you would have to work your way up through there. But I would want to be on offense. I like this strategy. These are a couple drivers that maybe feel like that, they don't have much to lose right here. A couple drivers that maybe are hoping for the win. I do think that they probably need this thing to go green if they want to win. Or if there are cautions, they don't need quick cautions. They need maybe for it to go green about 5, 6, 7 laps, and then a caution maybe to bunch them back up. So I think that's the best hope for them.
Well, I'm sure there are going to be some vinegar-like feelings here tonight after this race is over with all the carnage we've seen on the track, Chris. Several drivers going to be a little salty and maybe even sour, which is the answer to trivia question 3. It's vinegar-based barbecue pork. That is the Point of Pride barbecue in Rockingham in Richmond County, North Carolina. A couple fans got points for that. It was Dan E. and Jake Jarrett first on the board with that correct answer. And that's going to be a two-way tie headed into the last trivia question. And as we get wound up to go here, let us know. Jake and anyone else, Jake, Dan E., anybody, send some fans our way and tell them to let us know that you sent them in the chat. And whoever gets the most fans in the chat that let us know that they were sent by you, we'll give you half a bonus point on trivia tonight. Half a bonus point. Send your friends over. Let them know, type in the chat that you sent them. And we'll hook you up with a half a bonus point for trivia. Right now, the 84 and the 71, they're looking for all the points. They're looking for the win. It's Cochran on the outside. Evan Janik on the inside. It's going to be 19 laps to go here from Rockingham. Molina and Thornton up to the 4th position for the first time tonight. Thornton actually going to be 3rd here on the restart. Cochran gets going well, as he has much of the evening. Janik, a solid restart, not too shabby himself. Molina as well. It's going to be Holston getting the whole shot on the outside, going by the 29 of Joshua Thornton. But this is a battle for the lead as they work their way down the backstretch. 18 lap to go. Janik, middle of the track. Cochran, middle of the track. Molina, middle of the track. These drivers are running almost identical lines. They pulled about a 10-car length lead over 4th place Joshua Thornton. These 3 cars are and have been the class of the field tonight. Cochran diamonds his way to about a 2-car length lead over Evan Janik, but Janik closes the distance down the backstretch. He works that high line. Will he be able to carry some momentum and get by the Cochran number 84 as they cross the line, Chris? This is going to come down to the wire. I have no idea who's going to win.
Yeah, we saw earlier, it seemed like Evan Janik is a little bit faster maybe on the short run. It seems like he was able to make that pass on Jacob Cochran earlier on the short run. So I think Jacob's going to have to fight really, really hard right here to not let Evan Janik get positioned on his outside, because if he does, I think he's going to have a hard time holding him off right here, but he's doing a real nice job.
Cochran's been the class of the field. We've seen him be good at saving tires. Can he do the same here? Janik really has been fast on the short runs. He hasn't been able to get back by Cochran much of the evening, but we saw him with a little bit of juice a couple restarts ago. He's hanging tough, just about a car length back. Don't count Molina out. He might be saving something back there in that third position. Boy, Chris, don't look any further back because you'll have to close your eyes. It is a hornet's nest all the way back from 4th to 9th between Holston and Derek Jewett. Now Reggie Kime entering the picture in the top 10. Making me nervous a little bit. Brad Nelson off the corner, a little bit loose. It's going to open the door for Christian Barnes trying to work his way back. Chris, the 45 and the 27, they're on fresh tires. We're going to have to watch their lap times. Jewett's going to get the better end of this one over Barnes. Does that 45 have anything? Is there enough time as he works his way by the high line?
I think the time is going to be the biggest problem right here, especially if he has to take a few laps to get by these guys.
Ooh,
as
Christian
Barnes is loose.
Sideways. He holds on to it, though. Jewett now moves to the inside, seeing if he can't get another position and work his way by Alex Pollock and the number 8 here in the next lap or so.
Yeah, Jewett is really rolling right here. He's got to get clear of these guys fast in order to maybe try to chase these guys down. It's going to be a tall order because the lap difference is not huge between the tires.
Oh, boy. Thornton sideways off the wall next to turn 2. You saw the 45 run right to the back of the 92. He's eager to get by. Jewett trying to get by Pollock on the inside. We're going to get a good clear indication here on the next lap or so of a clean lap time from Derek Jewett with no traffic in front of him. He is, we believe, the fastest car on track, but he's got about 3.7 tenths of a second left if he's going to close the gap in 12 laps to the front. It's about 5-6 car lengths separating first from second, and then about 8 car lengths back to Max Molina in third. Derek Jewett now the 4th place car. That time by, Chris, that time by, Derek Jewett was a 10th and a half faster than Jacob Cochran. He was the fastest car on the racetrack by a couple tenths.
Yeah, riding on board right here with Derek Jewett, and we have the race insights powered by Pierce Graphics up on the screen right here. About 2 tenths quicker that time, or the last time. Let's see what they are this time here at the line. Molina across the line. Here comes Jewett across the line. About a tenth and a half quicker. No, actually about 3 tenths quicker, Ellis. So clean track, not side by side with anybody. He's chasing them down here. I just don't know if he's got enough laps, Ellis.
He's got about 10 laps left if he's going to make it happen. Meanwhile, the 71 might have eaten up about a car length or 2 on the 84, but is generally holding station at about 6 car lengths. But they've got the 91 to clear. Jacob Cochran's going to have to find a way to clear that 91. He's going to get down to the bottom off the corner, but it's allowed Janik to maybe creep back up into the picture. That time by Derek Jewett has gained about a second in the last 5 laps, Chris. You mentioned it. It might not be enough time, but he's going to be there at the end, at least to join the top 3 in that battle. Janik continues to work the high line, seeing if anyone mixes it up. He's a little bit later to lower that right or that left front down towards the apron in turn 2, Chris. He might have a little bit more speed. You see him loose. Caution's out. It's not going to matter. Jewett's going to be there for a 5-lap shootout. This is going to be a wild one. Let's see if we can't figure out what brought out the 13th caution on the racetrack tonight. Joshua Thornton, Chris, running inside the top 5, has issues on the backstretch.
Yeah, right there, some contact entering turn 1 with Reggie Kime, and I think they're going to come back together again right here. Yeah, they are. And the 29 of Thornton goes for a heck of a ride. Also, 2 cars turning over here on the backstretch tonight here at Rockingham, Ellis. We'll go back and sort of see this again. Maybe look at this from a little bit different perspective from the overhead shot. These cars get really close right here. He kind of slides up into Reggie Kime right there. And then right here on the exit of turn 2, you're just trying to keep your foot in the gas. Unfortunately, things just get really tight here. This track really narrows up right here. And yeah, the 29 of Thornton not quite clear of the 9 and goes for a heck of a ride down the backstretch.
That was a heck of a ride. Chris, cars coming down pit road. This might... Oh, boy, this is going to be wild, Chris. It's going to be 5 laps to go. Derek Jewett is... the big story here is how many cars serve as a cushion for Jewett. I can count, I believe, at least 4 that are going to be between him and these cars coming down pit road right now on fresh tires. Cochran, Janik, Molina, Nelson. They're all going to be on Goodyear fresh tires. Barnes elected not to come. Him and Jewett are on the same strategy. Chris Molina,
2 tires.
Maybe a 2-tire call here. Another roll of the dice for driver number 26. We saw him help him pick up the win at Texas last week. Will Molina pull another rabbit out of the hat here and get another win here with maybe slightly fresher tires, or at least 2 fresh tires, a little bit fresher than Derek Jewett and Chris? This is going to put them in 4th position. Derek Jewett is going to have 3 cushion cars. And I say cushion. Any of those cars could pass Derek Jewett, but I'm referring to the cars that are going to be on fresh tires. He's got Molina, who's going to be in 4th position on 2 right side fresh tires. Could that affect the balance and handling of that number 26? What do you think of that call with what's likely, I believe, going to be a 4 to 3 lap shootout?
Very interesting call. You know, Molina, I think, wants to be at the head of the pack for all of the fresh tire guys, you know, so he can be on offense in front of all of them. We'll have to see how it affects the handling. Usually, you know, 2 tires will make these cars a little bit looser. So, you know, if he's been tight here on this run, that he's maybe thinking that will, you know, improve the handling of that machine. You know, if I'm Derek Jewett, I'm going to take solace in the fact that it's been difficult to complete passes tonight. He does have 15, 16 laps on his tires here compared to some of the guys who just came to pit road. So, you know, it's going to be difficult, but, you know, it is difficult to complete passes. So, you know, I don't think it's the worst position to be in for sure, but these guys on fresh tires, they're going to be coming hard.
They are going to be lighting them up here, Chris. Hey, sweet swinging 55. Jake Jarrett sent me here. Appreciate it. Thanks for the sub. We offer drivers fighting for the trivia win here. You send any fans our way. Driver who sends the most fans to the broadcast and gets them to say so in the chat, we'll give them an extra bonus point in the trivia tonight. You got to stick around for the final trivia question. We'll give that away before we do our victory lane interviews with the top 3. Right now, we got a race to finish, Chris. 3-lap shootout. Jewett, Barnes, Molina, Zach White in that 77. You have to go all the way back to find Jacob Cochran in 5th position, along with Evan Janik. These drivers are going to be lighting them up here. This is going to get wild. I don't think we've seen the last caution tonight, Chris. Pace car working their way through turns 3 and 4. The control car here is going to be Derek Jewett. That black and gray number 45 on the outside. 3 laps. Jewett has to survive and hold off Max Molina, Christian Barnes, Evan Janik, Zach White, Jacob Cochran. Great restart for the 45. Zach White holds up Janik on that inside line. The 45 gets in the wall. Cochran now to the outside. He's got fresh tires. Molina has 2 fresh tires. Derek Jewett, 2.5 laps to go. Holston into the wall down the backstretch. Will we go under caution for the 14th time? Race control looks at it. They're going to say, let him race. 2 to go. Cochran still hasn't gotten Molina. Molina on 2 fresh tires. 2 laps to go. 2 laps to go for Derek Jewett. He runs high. Molina runs high. Cochran, that 84 down to the inside. Can he work his way by? He's got the freshest tires, Chris.
He does, and we got a crash in the back. That's Brett Wren into the inside wall. Will we get a caution right here before the
They're
white?
going to let him race. Oh, the 26th, 84 contact. Jewett, 3 cars on top of each other. This is going to be for the win. Jewett to the high line. Cochran to the inside. Jewett almost gets the wall. Cochran to the inside. Can Jewett hang it to the outside? Here comes Evan Janik. Don't look now. They're headed down into turn number 3. Cochran, Jewett, they make contact. The 84 of Cochran's going to get the better of it. Jacob Cochran's going to win race number 2 here at Rockingham.
And unfortunately, we weren't able to see it because we lost connection to the sim, unfortunately. And we're still having difficulty reconnecting to it, but great performance from Jacob Cochran tonight. Yeah.
Oh, man, sorry at home for the fans in the chat. You missed a wild one. That last corner, Jacob Cochran worked his way by on the inside, claiming the win. Jewett's going to have to settle for second position. Max Molina is going to finish third. We will bring it back to you. If we can't get that on replay, we'll make sure to post it to the YouTube, but we're going to try to get a replay of it. Chris, is there any chance of getting a replay of it?
I don't think it's gonna work, Ellis, because storms are kind of rough right here right now, so we're having a difficulty just maintaining connection. So apologize for everybody who could not see it. Yeah, we'll see if we can get a replay of it though to post on the YouTube channel from maybe your end, Ellis.
Oh, man, bummer. That is okay. That is the reality of doing live broadcasts in the middle of thunderstorms and tornado watches. And it rears its ugly head here, but it was a great call. Try to give you a radio-style broadcast of it. Jacob Cochran pulls off his second win of the season. Jewett second. Max Molina third. It came down to the last lap. We're going to hit up those victory lane interviews, but we owe you a trivia question before we do so. Final trivia question of the night. Final trivia question of the night. What nearby town was once a major railroad hub with a historic depot museum nearby Rockingham? Was it Sanford, Aberdeen, Pinehurst, or Hamlet? Which nearby town was a major railroad hub in the southeastern United States? Let us know your answer to the trivia question. You can see the leaderboard up top. We're going to add another extra half a bonus point. Going to add a half a bonus point to Jake Jarrett, but everyone else still has a chance. Get your answers into that trivia question while we queue up the drivers who finished top three tonight. Bring them into the booth in just a minute. All right, let's see if we can't get Max Molina. We can find him here in the voice chat. There he is.
Hey, Ellis,
All right, Max Molina. Max Molina, you are third place tonight.
I'm Steve.
Exciting conclusion to that race. This is Ellis and Chris in the booth. You got a copy.
I got you loud and clear.
Hey, man, I know you wanted to follow up that Texas victory with another one tonight. You made a gamble. You made a big swing on that strategy call. Two right tires. It almost worked out for you tonight. Let's kind of revisit the rest of the race. How frustrating was it out there? It was a tough race tonight. A lot of contact, lots of incidents. Was there frustration out on the track amongst drivers?
From what I could hear, yeah. Just, I mean, it seemed like we just couldn't give each other enough space on restarts, which is understandable because, like, you know, they're cold tires and you're kind of like drifting around and trying to get as much as you can. But yeah, I mean, you probably saw a couple times on the broadcast, like I got loose off of two, like a handful of times throughout this race from restarts, and I was just trying to get all I could off turn two just to try and keep up with the 71 84 ahead of me on those restarts. Man, they were lights out for most of this race. I couldn't I didn't really have much to keep up with them except for when it was like a late race or late stage restart. It seemed like my tires fired better off than they did on the shortest run. So it was interesting to try and see like if I was saving my tires more than they were, because I know like I felt like I was trying to push to try and keep up with them. So it was definitely a tough race to try and get a hold of this track with the handling and everything.
Was there anything you could have done there at the very end differently, looking back on it, to maybe walk away with a better shot at the win?
I don't really know. I mean, like, I could have seen the point where I could have dove lower on the backstretch early on in the last lap off two to try and block the 71 from getting to my inside, because what happened into three was the 84 had pushed the 45 up into my line, and at that point I was dealing with the 71 being on my left rear, and I didn't want to get wrecked by him, so I was like opening up the steering wheel really abruptly at that moment, and right at the same exact time I had a slight run on the 45 and I just couldn't get around him due to his old tires. So I was just kind of landlocked on the high side there, which was unfortunate. So long story short, I probably could have just had a better decision just to go take the inside earlier on the backstretch so 71 couldn't get below me, and then maybe that would have given me a better shot to get at least to second there.
Hey, man, well, you did a heck of a job regardless of the outcome. Third place finish to follow up that win at Texas, man. You're quickly establishing yourself as a championship contender here in the Fall Creek Plumbing National Series. We'll look forward to seeing you next week. Before then, though, you got any shout-outs before we let you go celebrate that podium finish?
Just like I said last week, just thanking friends and family for watching, and thank you guys for broadcasting this, and appreciate everything you guys do.
Yeah, man. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.
All right, thank you.
All right, Chris, you can go ahead and reveal the answer to trivia question 4 before we hear from Derek Jewett and Jacob Cochran. Answer to that question: what major town was a railroad hub in North Carolina? It was Hamlet, North Carolina, and that puts Jake Jarrett on the top of the leaderboard. He earned that half a point for bringing some fans into the broadcast chat. Jake Jarrett, that email address, you can email us. Your address is going to appear on the screen here in just a moment. We'll send you that Brandon Jones diecast absolutely free of charge. Just let us know what address to send it to. Email is ssracingleagues@gmail.com. ssracingleagues@gmail.com. That email address should appear on the board in just a minute. Meanwhile, we're going to hear from Derek Jewett, second place tonight. Derek Jewett, boy, this is Ellis and Chris. You got a copy.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man, I know that was probably, you thought you might have. We thought you had a chance, man. You did everything you could to hold those guys on fresh tires off, and I'll be damned if you almost didn't just pull off the upset of the season. Walk us through. Let's just start with those closing laps. You knew that staying out was probably going to be your only chance. Anything you think you could have done differently maybe in those final 3 laps to hold on to the lead?
Well, let's back it up to the last 10 laps. The 29 wrecking really cost us the victory there, because we have fresher tires. Me and the 27 pitted the second to last caution, and I just was chasing them down, and I had no tires, so I had to go. And looking back at it, when I took the white flag, I went a little too high going into turn 1, and I just didn't want to cut down, and that just gave the Jacob, the 84, the opportunity to get underneath me. I'm glad he raced me clean. He kind of adored me, but stings a little bit, but I'm just glad that I'm finally on a podium and talking to you guys finally.
Man, just looking over the course of the season, you're kind of we do a line graph of the finishes. It's up and down like a set of waves for you over the course of the season. You haven't been able to put together really that complete race yet this season. You had it at Bristol pretty good. You had a top 10 at Texas, but finally tonight you get that second place finish, that first podium of the season. I think that win's coming, so hold on. You're peaking at the right time, my friend. Any shout outs before we let you go celebrate your best finish of the season?
Yeah, I appreciate you guys doing what you're doing. So shout out to you. You guys are amazing. I listen to you guys every Friday after the race.
Appreciate it.
Non-typical designs. We had the Gray Ghost on the car, or the paint scheme tonight. So throwback to Buddy Baker and Dale Jr. He does all my paint schemes. So shout out to Colt Loomis, Monster Energy, Beast Unleash, Admin Box, and Joshua Everett's for all they do. So I got that. I got a feeling it's coming. I don't think it's gonna come next week at Road America, but I got a feeling it's coming soon.
I think we got a couple other drivers to watch out for Road America, but yeah, man, you mentioned it. It's right on the horizon. Keep an eye out for Derek Jewett, establishing himself as one of the drivers in the championship conversation with that second place finish tonight. Go celebrate the best finish of the season, my friend.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. All right, that leaves us one to hear from. It's going to be Jacob Cochran in the broadcast booth right now. Jacob Cochran, it's Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
I do.
Man, what a race. We saw you dominate much of it. It became a little less certain the final maybe third of the race as Evan Janik really put the test to you there in a way we hadn't seen him do earlier in the race. Talk to us about the conditions out on the track tonight, because it looked like it was a handful.
Oh yeah. Rockingham always is. it's just so easy to overdrive it going into a turn, and then especially coming off a 2. If you hit the bumps just right and gas it too quick, it'll just go around with you. Stage 1 went pretty well with us, and stage 2 did too. But I definitely overdrove it a lot in stage 2. So into stage 3, I was really just focused on saving as much as I could. But now Evan, the 71, the 45 of Derek, the 26 of Max, they were all, really keeping me on my toes all race.
Man, you made it happen. Walk us through the last 2 laps there. We saw some contact, maybe going up into turn number 3. Maybe a little bit of right side, left side contact between you and Derek Jewett. Intentional, all's rubbing or racing, or walk us through kind of the thought process in that last corner or 2.
Yeah, it's just racing, especially, racing for the win. No intentions there at all. We talked even after the race. It's nothing that I wouldn't have done. I really hated seeing that caution coming out. I didn't really know exactly how it was going to all shake out. We went into the turn 1 on the last lap, and when those 2 went high, I knew really my only option was to go low. I honestly didn't expect to get that big of a run coming off of 2, but I knew once I got on the inside going into 3, I had the fresher tires out of the group and could drive off. But it was not easy for sure.
Man, you did a heck of a job. We're heading to Road America next week. You got to win at Talladega. You got to win at Rockingham. Big track, little track. What about a track with some right turns? What do you make your chances next week?
Gonna need a lot of practice for sure.
Well, you got a week to do it. Spend some time in the sim, and we might be talking to you again at the end of the race next week at Road America. Before we let you go practice, you got any shout-outs?
Just shout out to Fall Creek for sponsoring the series. Shout out to Mystic for doing the league. It's a top-notch league. Shout out to Aaron Espy and AER Racing for let me run with them. Definitely has helped me a lot. So can't do it without them.
Man, we appreciate you. Good job out there tonight. We'll see you next week at Road America.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
You too. All right, you heard from your top 3 finishers there, Chris. It was a wild one. We had that radio call the last lap or 2. We're going to post a replay of the final couple laps so you can watch it not in case, you definitely missed it. We apologize for that. We mentioned we've been working through some storms tonight. Nothing that could prevent that. We got storms in both of the areas we're broadcasting from tonight. Hopefully you're safe in your neck of the woods. Chris, we're headed to make some more right-hand turns next week up at Road America. But before we talk about that, let's walk through the final results for tonight. We heard from the top 3. Evan Janik has to settle for a 4th position. Christian Barnes 5th. Brad Nelson finishes 6th. Best run of the season for that 33. Reggie Kime fought through adversity. I believe that's his best finish as well, Chris. And boy, let's shout out Stephen Gill. It was a tough start to the race, but Steve, he fought through it. He holds on for that 8th place finish in that 01. Good job, Steve. Adam Holston, points leader, has to settle for a 9th position finish, Chris. This is going to put Evan Janik out to a clear lead in the points. Douglas Wasaki finishes 10th. Meanwhile, Zach White, the victim of a late race caution, finishes 11th. Alan Zukov, didn't hear much about him throughout the race. He brings that 91 home to a top 12 finish in that 91. Alex Pollock finishes 13th in the 92. Josh Thornton, late race caution as well, has to settle for 14th after running the top 10 much of the night. And Chris, Malcolm Capo, let's shout out this 7 car. I don't think he got the finish that he probably, in terms of had speed for tonight. Saves of the race, though. If we're giving out the Allstate good hands of the race, that number 7 would definitely be the winner of that award tonight. Couple big saves. Joey Beam finished the 16th in that 41. Caleb Hunt showed multiple times with great speed tonight in that 78, but caught up in multiple incidents, finishes 17th. Brett Wren, 18th. Josh Gillen, top 10 earlier on in the evening, has to settle for a 19th. Brandon Willard finishes 20th. Several of these last several cars we're going to mention were involved in crashes throughout the night. Gino Volante birthday a month ago. They trolled us and told us it was his birthday tonight. He finishes 21st, 37 laps down. Gavin Henson had some speed early on, but finishes 22nd after an early race crash. David Moyer also had speed, top 5 early on, finishes 23rd. Andrew Allen and Isaac Brock, 24th and 25th, respectively. Chris, you excited about Road America next week?
Oh, definitely excited. Always like to mix it up a little bit, to go to the road courses, present some unique challenges, and also maybe some unique drivers being up there in contention for the win. Road America is a great venue. It's one of the best road courses, I think, for stock car road course racing. So really looking forward to it, and can't wait to see these drivers hit that 4-mile road course.
We are looking forward to it indeed. We will see you there, same time, same night, same channel next week. We're headed up north to Wisconsin, Elkhart Lake, Road America. Second time we're going to have some right turns this season. We'll see you at Road America next week. From Rockingham, for Slingshot Racing Media, Ellis Thomas and Chris Smith. So long, everyone. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.